Hi, and welcome to an Organized Chaos podcast. I'm Bobby Quarters. Chaos is here with me as well. We just wanted to thank you for watching.
Yes. Hey, Bobby.
And while you're here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on YouTube as well as Chaos and the podcast channel, which all three of those channels will be streaming this very show you're about to watch.
The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. We are all foolproof and incapable of error.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
There is a giant rock called the Moon. And in the year 2087, its future will be in the hands of one man. Eddie Murphy is
Pluto Nash?
Pluto Nash, it is a pleasure to meet me.
the battle between pretty evil
Let's get it right this time.
and pretty good
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at me.
begins.
Well, we were thinking a little more, bubblage.
Hey!
Oh, yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, Pluto.
You married twins, huh?
No, they're not twins. I met the perfect woman and then I had a clone.
Which one's which?
Who cares?
Why don't you take these Hillarys? We appreciate you helping us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard all the evidence. This was revenge. He fired the gun empty and then stopped to reload.
You strike me as a remorseless man, Mr. Dufresne. I hereby order you to serve 2 life sentences back to back.
I'm Mr. Norton, the warden. I believe in 2 things: discipline and the Bible. Here you'll receive both.
Why'd you do it?
I didn't, since you asked.
You gonna fit right in. Everybody in here is innocent. Hey, what you in here for?
Didn't do it.
He had a quiet way about him, a walk and a talk that just wasn't normal around here.
On the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook.
I think it would be fair to say I liked Andy from the start.
You think he'll ever get out of here?
I don't think so.
Open this door!
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying. There's something inside that they can't get to that's yours.
What are you talking about?
Hope.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Oh, wait, is this okay? It's okay. Yes, it is working.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, no, had some fun with the intro. Also had to put together last minute. Man, I wanted to get more of our musical. Like, I was thinking all of a sudden, I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we did like a timeline of all the concerts?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering which ones. Yeah, which
but
ones
then
you
it's
were
like
going to show.
the ones I showed were literally just the ones I had quickly available. But it's like, I was like, oh, I want to grab a Beat. I want to grab, fucking Wish You Were Here. I want to grab, there's so many other ones I want to show. It's like, fuck. Time. We're already late.
They're playing.
We are already late. Yeah,
they're playing later this week.
Yes, yeah. But yes, welcome to our 200th episode.
Welcome.
Holy shit, 200 episodes. If you missed one, you're gonna be behind on the story, so I recommend going back and catching the ones you missed.
There's a lot.
There's gonna be a lot of backstory.
I got this. Yeah.
There's lots of before I have a cat, after I have a cat.
There's like 3 different studios that I've been going through.
Mm-hmm. There's our pre-recorded stuff, and then there's the stuff where we went live. There's the stuff where I was actually put the computer on my bed and faced back here, and now I'm we've had so much timeline change, and if you don't keep up, you're just gonna be confused. And I apologize for that. That's your fault for falling behind. Just watch the entire backlog, and you'll be all caught up.
I used to use the red and the black backdrop. Now it's all just a flat wall, as opposed to.
Hell, I didn't even have freaking lighting. I just had figuring out how to make my room lights make me.
This is the second set of lights and the second stand that I've had since we've started.
Yes. God, yeah, it's been a while, but here we are, guys. 200 episodes, and for our 200th episode, we decided to pick 2 of our all-time favorite movies and a piece of great trash that you guys picked. And we're not going to tell you which is which. There's no telling.
No, not at all.
Looking at the movies we're covering today, there's no telling which is which. It's like, oh my God, what could be great trash and what could be their favorite movies?
Not at all. Not at all giving it away.
Minor spoiler. I'll just go ahead and say this. I did have fun adding a little bit because, there's so much about 2001 about the moon, and then Pluto Nash opens, on the moon. I'm like, I had to splice that together when I was doing the beginning.
I audibly laughed out loud at that.
Just like this epic musical song on the moon.
I'm sure that came through in the feed too, but I don't care. That was hilarious.
Yeah, what? I couldn't resist because it's like we did do 2 sci-fi movies this week, and I can't tell you how seismically different the experience of watching these 2 movies was.
Other than time, runtime, I mean that's a major difference. That's what I'll say right now.
Here's one thing I'll also say. Pluto Nash is like an hour shorter, but it doesn't feel like it.
No, it feels about the same length.
Yeah, it's about the same, just chugging through it. But what? I don't think we really discussed what we want to talk about first. What do you want to talk about first, Bobby?
Let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's talk about Shawshank first.
Ooh.
Since this started as a solo podcast, and that's your favorite movie. So why don't we start with your favorite? Yeah.
Absolutely. Shawshank Redemption has been kind of forever, and I kind of want to get past it. It looks cool while it's playing, but I can't leave it up too long because they tag me just because the trailer's playing on a fucking website, and that will drive me insane. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
I will trimmed out when it gets claimed at the beginning, but like in the middle of our discussion, it's like that does not work, guys. But Shawshank Redemption back when I originally saw this movie, going back to my personal history, like I always heard this movie got great reviews, but I was like, man, a prison movie just sounds depressing. I don't think I want to watch that shit. I know this shit happens in prison. And I start watching, it's like, okay, yeah, no, this is pretty entertaining, even though like it definitely is not like sugarcoating the shit that happens in prison. This movie gets fucking dark. But what I wasn't expecting was this movie to be so dark, so depressing, and yet somehow end with such a kind of up note, like surprising up note, like kind of inspirational story. And I was just like, I kind of loved it. I'm kind of even looking at more recently, my last watch, what I kind of love about is just how kind of almost simple this movie is. There's nothing like, I hate to say it because it's like, I love this movie. And it probably is my favorite movie. There's nothing I would consider particularly groundbreaking about this movie, other than it's just unbelievably well told. Pretty run of the mill structure as far as story, creative ideas on what to do with that structure, but great acting, fucking beautiful acting, and just a simple movie done really well. And I just love the crap out of this movie. What are your thoughts, Bobby?
Well, I'm going to start with my history of it first. Okay. I first knew of this as like a Stephen King story.
Yeah.
So naturally, I would think about it, and I would see it at the video store as a kid, thinking it's a Stephen King, and I want to watch it because it's spooky. Stephen King's scary.
Yeah.
I like scary movies. And I'm looking at it, and this looks like what I would later call, like just Oscar bait movie title, just based off of the cover of it, and it has that whole acclaim and everything like that, which it's, well, fucking deserved. And it always struck me odd as like, how can Stephen King make a scary story in there? Is there like a monster or something, or no? Well, how can he write something that's like not scary and that like that was the hardest thing for me to compute. Then I watched it, and yeah, you're right. They don't sugarcoat anything, and they tell it very true, very dirty, very matter of fact, and it's a well written story. It has a great flow of it. It has memorable and lovable, a lot of lovable characters, and a lot of ones that you just hate instantly.
Yeah, a lot of lovable characters, a lot that you just despise. I can't really think there's probably not a whole lot in the middle, because you have Andy and Red, and obviously they're the leads. They're fantastic. Haywood by William Sadler, one of the few roles where William Sadler just plays just not the smartest guy, but fucking likable as fuck.
Perfect. Perfect, lovable dude.
Yeah.
Haywood's a lovable idiot in this.
Yeah. You got Tommy, who's just the kid who just kind of the kind of a dumb kid, essentially getting in and out prison doing dumb shit. You have Brooks, who's just the old man who's been there forever. All guys you like. Those are prisoners, and then you of course have the other end of the prisoner spectrum, which is Boggs, who is complete fucking piece of shit. Who spends a chunk of the movie graping Andy any chance he gets.
Yeah.
Real piece of shit.
He's essaying the hell out of him.
Yes. And then you have the warden and Captain Hadley, played by Bob Goodwin and Clancy Brown.
Yeah, and
just
Bob Goodwin,
bad guys.
Yeah, Bob Goodwin gives one of those performances where for me, I just fucking hate him. I mean, I'm sure I love him as an actor. He's great.
Oh God!
But because of this movie, anytime I'm watching it and he comes in, I go, "Fuck that guy."
Yes,
fuck that guy.
Yeah. No, there's no missteps with this cast. Because so like Hadley is like the abusive prison guard who just beats the ever loving shit. Pretty much the first time we're introduced to him, he beats a guy to death. Yeah, he beats a guy to death.
Shit, dude.
Yeah. just like he was making too much noise, which it was his first night. He was freaking out, and the prisoners even talk about how that's pretty fucking normal. And he decides to haul him out and beat him to death. And it's like holy fucking shit.
Watching upon this rewatch, I caught something I never did in that scene. One of the prisoners going, "Jesus, man, Jesus!" Like one of them, the prisoners even says, "Jesus, dude!" Like,
yeah,
it's like hell?
You can stop. Yeah,
yeah, like. I was like, wow, I've seen that movie so many times and I've never caught that prisoner calling him out for that.
I mean, one of the things I always liked about that scene was Haywood. Because it's talked about at the beginning how there's always, when they bring in new people, there's always somebody who just breaks down. Always somebody who breaks down. And the guys who've been there for a while just bet on who's going to be the first one to break down. And you see when the lights go out, you see Haywood he's next to the new guy. They call him Fat Ass because he's overweight, and he's like encouraging him to break down, just telling him all these horror stories, because he bet on him to go out, and then he does. But then after the guards come in, you see Haywood essentially like, dude, like calm down, dude, please calm down. Like you see a sudden shift where before he's trolling him, and now he's like, dude, I don't want you to actually get hurt. Fuck. And then you find out he dies. It's like Jesus Christ. Characters you hate and characters you love.
Yeah.
And I think I've told this story probably on podcast before, but I'll go ahead and tell it again. When I first showed this to my daughter, it was a couple of years ago. Maybe we should rewatch it because like I just told her, it was like pretty much my favorite movie, and she was like, "It doesn't sound that great to me," but I was like, "Yeah, it's my favorite movie, though." And she's like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And she's on her phone for a nice chunk of it. I'm like, "Yeah, this movie isn't really connecting with her." And then it gets to the part where Brooks is let out of prison, and it shows that he's struggling. He'd been in prison for 50 years. He's struggling to get used to groceries.
Yeah.
And he eventually, you see him pull out a knife, and you're like, "Oh God, what's he gonna do?" He's like, he's contemplating maybe if he commits a crime, maybe he can get thrown back in and be back where he's comfortable. And then he just decides, F it, and you see how he carves his, Brooks was here into the halfway house room that he's at, and then he hangs himself. And when that scene happens, I all of a sudden hear kind of a little thing off to the side where my daughter is. And I look over and she is just weeping. And I was just like, "Oh my God!" It's like, okay, I think the movie got its claws in her.
And she's it's kind of almost, and there it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she gets it now. You see all something like, oh
yeah.
My God.
What's horrible about that is you have that, and then Tommy.
Yeah,
which is
Tommy.
Just,
yeah, like full-fledged spoilers, but like this movie is like fucking.
Yeah, I mean,
and I would also add, even if you know what's happening, like watch this movie because like it's different. Like two dudes describing what happens in the movie is always different than like actually experiencing the movie yourself.
Yeah, and we're not we're not even going beat for beat with it.
No, we're just jumping around
because the whole time, that while all this is still going on, the warden gets Andy involved in an embezzlement scheme.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy's very good at paperwork. We're going to put a pin in that later.
Yeah, so like there's this whole storyline with the warden and just working out taxes for all the the warden, Andy doing taxes for all the prisoner guards and all that.
Cooking the books. Well, he doesn't start cooking the books. He starts legitimately doing it because the crew are all the prisoners. They all the same guys, like the main guys we hang out with or are with throughout the entire movie. They get roof detail of retarring the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Andy overhears Hadley talking about some inheritance.
Yeah.
He tells him how he could literally do it and to keep it tax-free so the government doesn't get anything.
Yeah.
And what he'll show him is, I'll show you how to do it if you get beer from me and my friends.
And he says, he literally is saying this as Hadley is like pissed off at him, literally holding him over like a fucking roof, about ready to let go and drop him down. It's like, Jesus Christ. It was one of those moments that kind of shows who Andy is. It's like, yeah, he's kind of an unassuming guy, but he's got balls. He's got balls for sure.
He's got brass ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yes.
I would tell so many stories about him after he left too.
Oh yeah, no, they talk about that.
So many stories about him. Yeah, and he ends up getting them, and he earns the respect of all the prisoners there just by that act alone. Because even when like they're all sitting having a few beers at, what does he say, like 11 a.m. that morning? Yeah,
it was something like that. It was 10
yeah,
11, I want to
yeah,
say.
and it's like that's sounds nice. After a
Mm.
freshly tarred roof, yeah. And they go and offer him, was like, no, I'm okay. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, just watching them all just having fun and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he says he gave up drinking when you look back at the backstory where he got drunk and hung out, like he went to prison because he was accused of murdering his wife, who was
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, that's why I said accused. Yeah, he was accused of murdering his wife, and he did get drunk and hang out outside of her place with a fucking loaded gun. So it's pretty damning evidence. And it is also one of those things where it's like, that's bad, but like you see, yeah, like it's like you understand if he did it, you understand it, but like you don't do that. But then that's when Tommy comes along, and Tommy's kind of like, yeah, actually, I know your story too, because I heard it from one of my cellmates. He told me the story about how he murdered a golf pro and the girl he was banging, and they blamed it on this young hotshot banker who was married to the woman. And it's just like, holy shit. So Andy, who pleaded not guilty, he pleaded his innocence the whole time, but like he's just been rolling with this, you know, because you can't just, there's a point where you just can't fight it forever. You just got to roll with the punches. But finally Tommy's there and he's like, no, I know you're innocent. I can testify that you're innocent. And the warden, Bob Gooten, great performance. Throughout all this, like he has been a slimy guy throughout this whole thing, but he and Andy do have kind of a relationship where, Andy's cooking the books for him, and the warden, is kind of making things a bit easier for Andy. Even though throughout the whole time, like every time he talks to the warden, it's like, man, I feel like you need to take a bath after that. It's so gross. But
yeah, he talks down to him the whole time. Like,
like you don't like them, but they have this, somewhat working relationship. Then when Tommy comes in, the warden pulls him aside and says, hey, are you going to go to court and testify? If I move on this, are you going to go to court and testify that Andy's innocent? He's like, fuck yeah, absolutely, no question. And the warden kills him.
Has him killed. Hatley pulls the trigger.
Yeah, technically it is Hadley, but yeah. And then that's the moment where it's just like...
That one's rewatching that one. That was one that's done. And I knew it was coming. And I was like, as soon as like, hey, Warden was like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is going very poorly. And that's the big second act, thing where it's like everything just goes to shit. Andy is completely fucked. He will spend the rest of his life in prison, cooking the books for the warden, and he will never be allowed to leave.
And that's when one of the best quotes of the entire film comes, the one that's in the trailer. Where it says, you either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Yes. That's what Andy tells the Red, and Red starts getting really fucking concerned that Andy is about ready to kill himself. And that's almost the vibe. Like they go to bed that night.
He met Red when he first got it. Well, after he had been there, and Red is a man who can get things.
Yes.
He had got him this little rock gravel that's about yay big. Mm-hmm. And they had joked saying that it would take a man 600 years to, pick his way out of Shawshank.
Mm-hmm.
Andy did it in about 6.
Yeah. Was it 6? I was thinking it was more I thought it was more like 20 or something.
20, yeah.
He was there for a couple
years.
Decades.
Yeah, he was there for 20 years.
He was there for a solid stretch, yeah. But that's part of the thing. Like Andy, like he's not planning on like digging his way out, but he's like etching his name in the wall because he sees other people have done that. So he decides to do that. Then he realizes, oh, this rock's actually kind of loose.
And then a bunch falls down.
With this, I could do a lot of damage.
And then just little by little.
Yeah.
Every day.
Just chip away. Yeah.
As he said, I got nothing but time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, I love when they go out that night and they're like Red and Haywood and the other guys are talking about how they're kind of concerned with how Andy's been acting since he was let out of solitary.
For what was it, like almost like
it was like 2 months, I want to say.
Like 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And they talk about how brutal solitary can be just for being in there for like a week or whatever.
Mhm.
And they're all like, kind of concerned. And then, they're talking about it. And then Haywood's like, all of a sudden Haywood like curses and they're like, what's up? And then Haywood's like, I just got Andy like a length of rope. And they're like, why the fuck did you get him a length of rope? And it's like, because it's Andy. I wasn't thinking about it. It's just Andy. He's not going to do anything like that, is he? But they're all freaking out. And then the roll call the next morning, and everybody walks out but Andy. And like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, fuck, no.
First time I watched it, I was like,
do that.
oh, shit. Are we really going to end it like this?
Yeah. And then you finally, I think all you have is the mystery, because you see the guards walking and go, holy shit. But you don't see what's in the room for a little bit. You don't see what's in the room till they pull Red in. And he walks in and you just see the room's empty. It's like, where the fuck did he go? Like, wait, he didn't hang himself? What the fuck happened? Yeah.
Stuff is still there. The warden starts freaking out, throwing his like chest carvings up, and one goes through Rita Hayward.
The poster he used covering up the hole.
Was it Rita Hayward? Or?
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was Raquel Welch at that point.
Raquel Welch. It was Raquel Welch at that point, yes.
But yeah, it was Rita Hayward, then Marilyn Monroe, then Raquel Welch.
Yeah, it was Raquel Welch, yeah. And it just ding, ting, ting, ting.
Yeah, it just...
He rips through it, and there's a giant hole, and you just see their profiles looking in at it. Like, all shocked, like, what?
Yeah, that's like the iconic shot that the like, I want to say it's like Red and the warden and I want to say Hadley just looking at the
Hadley,
hole.
yeah.
And just like, what the fuck what the fuck was he working on? And all of this, long after all this happens, Andy had escaped, and not only that, he had taken on the identity of the person that was supposed to be the fall guy for all the warden's embezzlement should it ever be discovered. He took on the identity, emptied out all the accounts, and left. Yeah, just
as Red said, on that day, a man that no one had ever seen before walked in and cleared out his account.
And what do you know? His signature was a spot-on match.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, just every time I watch it at that part, I am just laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just, that is so beautiful. All of this just, it's like, and right when you think it can't get any better, it does. The police show up to Shawshank.
Well, that's the great thing. So we see him in the bank emptying out the account, and he's like, hey, can you guys put this in your outgoing mail? This nice big old manila envelope, obviously filled a whole bunch of stuff. Goes to a newspaper, and next thing you know, news story about corruption at Shawshank Prison. It's like,
you see them reading it in the paper, and you hear the police coming.
Yes. And the warden is actually literally getting ready for a shootout as the police are at his door. He has a revolver. He loads it up completely. He's pointing it at the door. And then, kind of one of the things I kind of regret was that, like, he finally comes to his senses and realizes there's only one way out, and he blows his own brains out. And I'm not going to lie. I wish they had arrested him. I want him to spend the rest of his life in prison.
They should have introduced him to all his friends in there.
But Hadley is definitely spending his life in prison. But yeah, apparently, and it's too sad we didn't get to see this, but we heard it. Apparently, when Hadley was was arrested, he just broke down and cried like a little girl, and it's like. Yeah,
Red said, "I would have given it." Red said, "I would have given anything in the world to see that."
Yes.
I would have too. I would have.
Well, it's always the biggest bullies who are the biggest wimps when shit goes down.
Yeah,
he is a big bully. So it's like, I bet you he did. But yeah, it's a dark, gloomy, but at the end of the day, unbelievably inspirational movie. Mm-hmm. That's kind of why I love it. It's just so fucking good. And then factoid I saw, which didn't super surprise me, although this is, let's see if I can pull it up here. I saw this was, God, is it not going to be on here? It's on the app. I saw this was rated as the #1 movie of the top 250 movies on IMDb. So it's like, obviously, I'm not really disagreeing with that. Although I'm not gonna lie, I was scrolling through that, and there was a couple things where I was like, really? Because I think, while I do respect it for putting Shawshank at number one, like I want to say like Dark Knight was number 5, and it's like I really like Dark Knight, but I don't know about that, and I don't think it's aged particularly well. And here's the one that drove me nuts: Dark Knight Rises is like 74. I'm like, no. Again, I like Dark Knight Rises. I might even defend it, but not in the top 250 movies of all time.
Number 5?
Number 5, I want to say, was Dark Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no.
Well, it's like, I love that movie when it first came out, but let's be honest, it hasn't aged amazingly well.
Well, here's a question. Here's a question for you. And this is kind of an uncomfortable one, I guess, but would that movie still have the same impact if Heath Ledger was still alive?
That's a good question. His performance is amazing in this.
Yes. I'm not discrediting it, but I'm asking. It's the same as like, would you think that Nirvana would be as culturally relevant if Kurt Cobain was still alive?
Yeah. It does beg the question.
Or Sublime, or this, you could say the same with Sublime,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's, I feel kind of like a sleaze bag for saying it, but
it does beg the question, because it's like,
honest, yeah.
It's not saying any of this stuff is bad.
Yeah,
it's just like, really?
Would it be as culturally appealing? Because if we're going off that, we should say the Twilight Zone movie is as culturally important and as great at that.
Man, that Twilight Zone movie has a hole. That is a catastrophe in that.
And I'm just saying, if it's the same, if we're talking about the same parameter for that, then this belongs in the conversation.
True. That might be a different. That's definitely a different movie. Talk about a different time.
Is it an extreme argument? Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's an argument though, and it's an interesting one. By the way, if you don't know the story behind the Twilight Zone movie, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That is dark. But yeah, Shawshank Redemption. You know what?
Watch it if you haven't.
An essay I've been thinking about making, and maybe I'll still make it, is about how I want Frank Darabont back making movies. Because like he's a really good fucking director. I still think that this is the best, obviously, but like Green Mile's awesome. He just has so many solid movies. And then he did season 1 of Walking Dead, and I swear to God, AMC fucking broke him. Because it's like he's just out of it at that point.
I want Wolfgang Peterson to go back to making political drama action movies.
I'm not against that either.
No. I want a good Jack Ryan movie. Good Jack Ryan movie. But they've already made their 2 perfect movies, so those can't be done again. Well, I never say never, but they should. Let's move on to, since later I joined in on the show, so let's keep it going. Since I joined in later, let's talk about my favorite film. Oh God, where to begin with this one, dude? Visually, let's talk visually and how the filmmaking. Yeah, so God, this is such a stunning film.
Yes.
And like the space, even though go back one. That's a rotating set, and you could see the track line down the middle where the camera was. And it's just like introducing this into filmmaking. Well, not really introducing it, but really utilizing it to its fullest potential is just such a cool thing. Like, this movie still looks awesome.
Yes, it does.
It still looks awesome. This was made like
68.
Yeah. So.
And there's so much of this that is just music.
What, like, that's like, what, almost 60 years ago now? Yes, 60 years ago now.
Yeah, it's almost 60 years ago, yes.
Wow. And just what? Wait, how is a movie that's made almost 60 years ago still look better than what shit you can see in the cinema today?
Well, it definitely looks better than another movie we're talking about a bit later.
Well, we're going to get to that one in a minute,
Yeah.
but let's talk about the greatness first before we get into this. Now, this was inspired by a short story that was written by Arthur C. Clarke, and Kubrick loved the idea of it, and it was, in short, about expedition into the deep depths of space, because we have been there have been these strange monoliths, and one was discovered on the moon, and they're all over, and it seemed like there was something coming from it. So, like that age-old Star Trek thing, they found its point of origin and went to go investigate and see it. But they didn't tell the astronauts that in a very alien-like way. But these guys, but they also sent them up there with the world's smartest computer. It is perfectly fail-safe.
The HAL 9000 is known to be airless.
And yeah, and it's kind of a cautionary tale of AI as well.
Yes.
I look at it as that.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of telling too, because like they even ask Hal, hey, if you're perfect, how could there be an error? And he's like, well, it must be human error. And that's a lot of things people need to remember about AI. It's made by humans, guys. It will never be perfect because humans are not perfect. That's just how that works.
It just goes back to the God complex.
Yes.
But that's not what it's not really what this movie's about. Though most sci-fi is good sci-fi.
I mean, I will say that the HAL 9000 stuff did feel like a little detour from the main story, but like it still works on its own as like a little horror story in the middle of this, because so much of this is like about atmosphere and about the monolith, which like the astronauts find this. Yeah, they find this on the moon, and they're like, okay, they unbury it on the moon and find it was buried 4 million years ago deliberately, and they're trying to figure out what the fuck it is.
Yeah, so why this was deliberately buried on the moon, which is wild to think about.
Yes.
So it's obviously there's some race of aliens or something that buried this here, and they're trying to figure it out. And they pinpointed it out to Jupiter, where they sent this crew out to it. Now it's of Dave and oh god, I can't remember the other crew members' names.
Was it Frank?
Frank, yeah.
I think it's Frank. And then the three guys who are in
cryostasis.
Yes.
Which they all take shifts.
You can actually see them
as he's running around.
Yeah, those are the three guys in cryostasis there. But yeah, so it's a 5-person crew plus HAL 9000. Although before we get too far into this, it's worth saying, while this is the first time the humanity in the movie has found the monolith, it's not the first time the audience sees the monolith.
No.
We see it very early during the literal dawn of man.
When we were nothing but apes.
Yeah, we were nothing but apes. Then they discover a monolith. Then they start evolving.
Well, before that, we see a day in their life, and we see two tribes, and one of them is drinking water, and these other come up, and there's like a bunch of commotion, and the other group of apes that come up, they scare off the group that was by the watering hole, and then they have their turn of the water. So presumably, I think we're following the other group of apes that were scared off. They find the monolith. They come and they actually physically touch it. And somehow through that, they kind of start to evolve and learn. So you see one of them playing with some dirt and bones. He picks up a big one and kind of just,
Yep.
Hey, this does something.
Yeah.
And
this is more effective than just my fist.
We see him becoming a better hunter because of it. Then we see them attack that other group. And throughout a moment of celebration, the ape goes and throws it up. And we follow it up into the sky, flipping. And then it turns into a space station. And we are into the year 2001.
Yes. One of the most brilliant transitions ever, by the way.
Yeah.
Just fucking.
One of my favorite transitions of all time.
It's iconic for a reason. It's like that's perfect.
This movie actually has some of my favorite shots in cinema, period.
Yes.
Just of all time. One is the first shot we see of the monolith where we're looking up at it and we see the sun and we see the moon very distant in the sky.
Yeah.
All aligned.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. So cool.
This is just a beautiful movie. And I know, like, I'm sure lots of people could watch this, but like, it's slow paced and stuff.
Because it is a slow
This
burn.
movie, it is so indulgent and just kind of, I don't know, it's probably the best word to describe it. It's a lot of Stanley Kubrick, just kind of like really just like getting these beautiful shots and just staying on them for a while.
And playing,
but it works.
And also creating an atmosphere in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Because this is like one of the very first times that like space has been explored in cinema. Like on this level, in which, in my opinion, set the bar forward forever. Like I can't think anyone can raise the bar on filming space stuff. Like when we watched Mickey 17, there was so much of that just reminded me of 2001.
Yeah,
especially when he was out in the space and going like, yeah. Like the creators of that movie are definitely fans. Definitely fans.
Well, I think most filmmakers are fans of Stanley Kubrick to a degree, and like I call it indulgent, but at the same time, like it's earned. Like he's indulging himself, but it's like on shit that's fucking just worth fucking looking at. There is I forgot like this has the musical intro, which I forgot about. Not a whole lot of movies have that, but it was more common back in the time period. And then there's also an intermission, which I was like, Jesus. So I hadn't seen this movie since I was a teenager. I think last night might have been the second time I've ever watched this.
Oh, okay.
But the fact is, even as a teenager, so much of this still stuck in my mind. And like rewatching, it's like, yeah, I remember this shit happening. Very much.
So while they're up, let's back to the plot. While they're exploring, Dave and Frank encounter an error in the mission program. And, like you had mentioned, they ask Hal about it. And Hal said, well, it had to have been our error. And like the both of them, that kind of struck both of them as very odd.
Yes.
So they decide to go have a conversation somewhere where Hal can't see them or hear them.
Well, can't hear them. Yeah.
Can't hear them, yes. They go inside of one of the exploring pods. Excuse me. And Hal just starts reading their lips as they're talking. And
they're essentially
talking about like how could Hal make a mistake? Yeah.
They're both like, there's obviously a mistake with Hal. So the logical course of action at this point is to essentially shut him off and just run the computer on basic, essentially.
We'll have to get the other guys up and fill them in.
It'll be functional, but we can still do this mission. It just won't be as easy without Hal. But if Hal is literally giving us bad info, then we can't trust him.
Yeah, because even in the beginning, we saw Hal questioning some things of the mission and asking Dave about it. And him just, you should just follow what the mission is, Hal. That's what we're here for. So in a way, Hal was going, hey, something doesn't sound right. So they decide to shut off Hal, and they decide in this pod where they shut it off so Hal can't hear him. Unfortunately, we do have this window, and we can see Hal, unfortunately, right there, represented by that little red light, reading their lips as they discuss this. Which is a great shot.
Yeah.
We hear just the sound of the computer running, but focused on their lips. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Hal is definitely not functioning correctly because, well, obviously, like he sees this, and Frank goes for a spacewalk, and we don't see exactly what happens, but suddenly Frank is just drifting wildly in space, and Dave has to go save him. And while Dave is going out trying to retrieve Frank and figure out what the fuck is going on, we see one of Frank's hoses has been disconnected and he's struggling to get back on. And then we just see his body stop moving.
Hal kills the other three astronauts
while Dave is out retrieving the body. And when Dave's got the body and he goes to the docking bay door and he's like, "Open up, Hal."
Open
And
the
Hal's
pod
like,
bay doors, Hal.
I'm
Open
sorry,
the pod
Dave.
bay
I
doors,
can't do
Hal.
that. I can't. It's like
Hal,
and he's like,
Hal. Manual override. Open the pod bay doors.
yeah,
Dave,
I can't do that, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave, but I can't do that. So Dave has no option but to let Frank go.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes a backup helmet and jettisons himself into there and through a vacuum of space, and we see him forcibly work his way in. Huh?
That's the thing. So he doesn't have a back. There is no helmet. So he has to jettison himself through the vacuum of space. No helmet.
Right, yeah. That's right.
Which, as far as we know, at most you get a minute out there before you're just fucking dead.
And what's great about that, what I loved about that scene was just dead air.
Yes.
Just so silent and just such an intense moment.
Yeah, and then you just hear the explosion of the door, but there's no music to it. There's just the explosion of the door. His body just blasting to the other end. It's like hope. He's like desperately just trying to get to the switch to trigger the airlock door because
he gets in there.
Time is ticking. Yeah.
Hal starts cutting the oxygen to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So he races, gets the backup helmet. Then and then it's like, Dave, I really think you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Hal tries to talk his way out of it.
Yeah, Hal suddenly's like, I'm sorry, Dave. I was malfunctioning, but I'll be better now. It was like all this shit where it's like, oh. When Hal starts saying that shit, it's like, oh, he can't stop Dave from this. Dave got it. Yeah. Dave's about ready to go and dismantle him, and Hal's like, fuck, I can't stop him. Wait, Dave, I'm better now. Everything's fine.
I suggest you take a stress pill
and
lie down and think things over.
Oh my God.
One of the most, that's chilling.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna subdue myself around you.
Yes. No, just relax around Hal. It'll be fine. Go ahead and take off your helmet and go relax.
Yeah. No.
Go sit in the airlock. I promise not to open it for you. It's the safest room there is.
Yeah. And so he goes into the mission control of Hal's memory banks, or Hal's operating PU, which is pretty much a lot like this room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he starts deactivating Hal. Yeah, there it is.
Well, there's
no
the airlock, but
no, that wasn't
there later in the movie.
I was talking about that. Yeah.
I mean, there's this where we'll get to that.
No, later. Not that. One more.
What?
No, the other way. The first way you were going. Yep. Ah, there it is. There it is. There it is. That's the money shot right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but he starts slowly deactivating, and we hear Hal's speech slow and get deeper.
Mm-hmm.
As he's slowly shutting down, and he makes him sing Daisy. He asked him, like, I have a song that he starts talking about the first time he was ever powered on, and who powered him on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he taught me to sing the song. Would you like to hear it? Yes, Hal, sing the song.
Yeah.
He starts singing Daisy, which is just one of the most terrifying moments of the film. It's just so unsettling.
Yes.
At this point, there comes a fault in the system as he's shutting down. There's a message from a man that we saw earlier in the film who was investigating the monolith on the moon. A guy by the name of Floyd.
Haywood Floyd. Yeah.
Haywood Floyd, yeah.
Who was kind of the main character for like the beginning of the movie, but then we transfer really to Dave and Frank.
Quickly to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blink and you miss it. But yeah, as he's as they're there, and he's talking about the monoliths and all of this, and none of this information was given to the astronauts. This was to play when they were all awake and close to Jupiter.
Yes.
So the mission is that. So Dave is like, well, I'm going there. He gets in one of the last pods.
I know there's some more here.
Yeah. Starts to encounter towards it, and then what I believe happens is the beings that originally sent the monoliths, he comes in contact with them.
Yes.
And they pull him into their existence in their world. And so all that visual stuff that we see of him traveling through the cosmos,
Yes.
And everything is him coming into contact with them and entering their atmosphere and their world. Now, when we get there, what they do to him is they put him in like what we would like a zoo, like what we have, and how like we like to build an environment around the creatures within the zoo. What like we think would be that's what these aliens do. So obviously it's like 16th century France, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that is what he does, and he lives his entire existence there. But he watches it himself live and exist his entire life.
No,
until he is reborn and sent back to Earth in that embryo as some sort of super being. So
I love how it's shot. So he goes to this and he's walking around, he's investigating. Then he sees an older version of himself. Then suddenly we're following that older version of himself walking around, and then he stumbles across our older version of himself. Then we follow that version until essentially we see his death. It's and we see how he kind of changes, because for the first little bit he's exclusively in the spacesuit in this area, but then like towards the end he has the spacesuit off, he's just chilling at a table, and then at the end he's just in bed and he sees the monolith return, which is this iconic shot.
And
here.
He's like kind of reaching out to it, and then he is reborn into this super entity that is sent back to Earth. Now, what is supposed to happen once he goes back there is ambiguous and left open for us, the viewer. Like,
the implication is like, we saw the monkeys evolve after coming in contact with this, so the implication is that he is now evolved and he's going back to Earth, as an evolved state. Which is like, it's a really cool story about like the human potential, really.
Yes.
It just kind of boggles the mind of what could happen.
And there's so many people who sleep on this because they feel it's too boring. And it's just...
It's a beautiful movie. It like I said, is totally indulgent, but like it earns it. It earns that indulgence.
It does.
Stanley Kubrick directs the shit out of this.
And I think this is one of those rare things, because the actual writer of the story is also also helped write the screenplay with Kubrick.
Yes.
So like it is one of them. If you want your story to be perfectly told, do that. I love this movie, and I wish that they made more sequels to the story, because there's at least 3 other books in the series.
I'll be honest, I remember not being thrilled with 2010.
I remember it being like as good as this, but without all the space shots. As not indulgent.
I like the indulgence, though. The indulgence really sells it to me.
But the story is great because,
the story is great, too.
Because they get the great idea to turn Hal back on. Because that's
what could go wrong there?
Well, actually, nothing does. Hal's pretty in the clear for this one. It's been a while since I've seen it, so don't.
And maybe I need to rewatch it. Yeah, it does seem familiar when they do that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Hearing that like that's what they're doing, I go, why the fuck would we do that? He killed 4 astronauts.
There's literally other Hals that disagreed with him. Turn on one of them. But
so that is like my favorite.
Absolutely, fucking beautiful movie.
Oh yeah, and that's all for the 200th episode. We'd like to thank you for watching it. Nope, I'm just kidding.
You don't get out that easy. You don't get that out easy.
I'm just kidding. We got to get to the viewer pick, the one that all of you loving
the great trash
fans are great fans.
You might be shocked. The Adventures of Pluto Nash was neither of our picks for all-time favorite movie.
No,
I know, it's shocking.
Not at all.
So shocking.
Sorry, I have to get in the right mind to talk about this movie.
Oh, God. You know what? I will go ahead and admit, there was a point very early in this movie where I was like, you know what? This isn't great, but maybe I can enjoy it as like a cheesy movie. And then like 10 minutes later, I completely abandoned that.
Yeah, I was kind of, there was a little bit of hope that I had. Like, you know what? If I look at this as like a bad movie and it's so bad I could laugh at, I'm going to enjoy it.
Like, it begins with Jay Moore in the kilt, with the fucking...
And my hopes got diminished immediately.
it was bad, and I was just like, man, this is really bad, but maybe I'll enjoy this, because Eddie Murphy's there, and he's putting on the Eddie Murphy charm. There's a couple moments he did make me chuckle in this.
Yes, there's a few one-liners that he said that I genuinely laughed at. And there's a few other actors who said stuff that I genuinely laughed at.
But, all right. So, okay. So, and like part of it breaks down to what the whole story is. So, jumping ahead ever so slightly, we're still in the beginning. Pluto Nash, Eddie Murphy, fucking huge cast in this, by the way. We'll get to that. But he runs like the most successful nightclub on the moon. Just it's banging.
Oh, yeah, we've
people dance
colonized the
weird
moon.
and awkwardly on there.
We
Yeah,
colonized the moon. Yeah, whatever song we got in the final cut was not the song those actors were dancing to.
no, was that dancing? It was just like
it was not the same music.
that was it.
Well, yeah,
that was
man,
dancing in the future.
It's the future. That
Yeah.
was like supposed to be what 2046.
Yeah,
20 years. That's going to be the hot
that
new
was
dance, man.
that was 2087.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. See, so that's going to be the new TikTok dance. Then we are trend setting here, man.
Oh, but anyway, so he is the nightclub owner of the most successful nightclub, and this big businessman that nobody's seen before called Rex Crater is buying up all the locations nearby, and he offers $10 million to Pluto Nash for the nightclub. He's like, dude, I love this nightclub. I don't want to sell it. And I'm like, okay, there's kind of a story here. And then like Rex Crater literally blows up the nightclub, and Pluto Nash is on the run. It's like, okay, maybe there's a story here, but then like we find out a bit more of the meat and potatoes of this. And here's what's going on. Pluto Nash runs the most successful nightclub, and you're wondering, what does Rex Crater want to buy it for? He wants to buy it so he can run the most successful nightclub that also does gambling, that apparently Pluto Nash is ethically against. This is just the fucking movie, okay? I don't know what else to say. This is like the fuck what?
So that's the plot of
Yes.
this film. Now let's get into the zaniness of this movie. Where to begin? Let's talk about the cast of this film.
Oh god, there's so many. Just like when like credits were playing, I was just like, holy shit, I know everybody in this cast.
Yeah, I knew
We
every
can
single
scroll
actor
to it right
in this.
here, but it's like Eddie Murphy. I think the first three credited were Eddie Murphy, Randy Quaid, and Rosario Dawson. And then we got Jay Moore, we got Joey Pantolino, Louis Guzman, James Rep. Yeah.
Hey, and you said his name wrong. It's Joey Pants. It's Joey Pants.
True. He does go by Joey Pants. Yes.
Pam Grier,
James
Peter Boyle,
Redhorn, Peter Boyle, Burt Young, John
Young.
Cleese. Holy fucking shit! Somehow, all that talent, and this movie is just so boring, just so dull. Holy shit!
There were three actors in this who have also been on The Sopranos. Joey Pants, Burt Young, and Lilo Bricanti. He played Larry, one of the goons.
Oh, okay.
Burt Young played a retired hitman. So pretty much he just played like, Paulie. But if Paulie killed people.
Well, that's the thing. So like,
yeah,
I guess we get into the beginning, which I kind of skipped over. So there's like a whole maybe 10-minute beginning where you have fucking Eddie Murphy watching Jay Moore, on that performing terribly with his kilt on.
No, he's certainly not dying on stage.
No, he is. He's doing great, but he's and he's in this terrible nightclub, and I'm like Eddie Murphy's asking where's the bathroom? And it's like the most disgusting nightclub ever. It's like, yeah, no wonder this place is fucking dead. Terrible entertainment and just terrible. And then essentially some goons break in to essentially fuck up Jay Moore, Tony Francis, who he had just decided that will be his name. And Eddie Murphy makes a deal to save his life to essentially, he will essentially revitalize this nightclub and pay them all back, which we see in 7 years he's done and then some. But we need like 10 minutes to get this all set up. But I guess it's important because Tony Francis will come back at the end because he's become a big act, essentially becoming Frank Sinatra Rat Pack cover band, essentially.
The Rat Pack on the moon.
Yes. God, fuck. It kind of drives me nuts because, like, I think the whole like potential of like somehow the nightclub owner getting caught up because this evil goon is like buying up realty and he's like doing like they could have made this kind of work. You have Dina Lake coming in and she's just this person who is the daughter of somebody who was good friends with Pluto Nash in prison. As established in the beginning, he just did like a 7-year stretch in prison or something like that. And yeah, so he agrees to give her a job to help her out. Bruno, Randy Quaid, is his fucking bodyguard, who's an old school android who's out of date, but like, Pluto likes him. And it's kind of implied at moments that Bruno might have more than just a respect for him, because like there are shots in this movie where like Dina and Pluto are like flirting, and Bruno's looking on jealously, and I'm like, does Bruno have a thing for fucking Pluto Nash? By the way, they do this shot a couple of times, but it's never fucking followed up with. Just Bruno just ends up hooking up with another android or whatever the fuck. But it's like, oh my god, like
this was bad for a Randy Quaid.
My god. Yes. Oh my god.
And that says something.
No, there's, like I said, there's so many actors in here, and some are kind of trying, but most just obviously know this is garbage. Like, visually, for a movie that came out, 35 years after 2001. Holy fucking shit, this looks so much worse. I can't even begin to just tell you how much worse this movie looks than 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's not even fucking close. And I know 2001: A Space Odyssey is a high bar to compare it to, but you know what? I see them close to each other, and there is a 35-year age difference. I'm not saying it needs to be as iconic as that, but like, it doesn't need to be remotely as bad as it is.
Hey, I just said 2001 set the bar. I never said every single movie that's made about space hits said bar.
No,
I never said that.
But god damn, so many great actors. A storyline that fucking, like, I look at the storyline, it's like, okay, I could see you possibly doing something with that, but that's definitely not what it does. It's awful. Oh, by the way, when they're investigating, trying to figure out who the Rex Crater guy is, and we will get to who he is later because it's so forced and out of nowhere. But like, they go to this body alteration place trying to track him down. And in there, Eddie Murphy is critiquing Rosario Dawson's body. Being like, oh yeah, we can improve it like this and that. And I'm like, you're improving Rosario Dawson's body? Have you fucking seen her? The fuck are we doing? I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. God, this is bad. I guess we could just jump. You want to jump to the end?
Yeah, we might.
The reveal of Rex Crater.
The big reveal.
I actually thought was like Alec Baldwin at some point, because like it was revealed that like he was like one of the big guys involved, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's probably
they addressed him as Max, and I thought
who was also in this, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, Rex Crater is actually a random fucking clone of Pluto Nash that comes up out of fucking nowhere. I guess mainly so we can just have them fight each other. And by the way, like, they have a fight that goes on for a few minutes, and there's no clues to the audience who is who. So you're literally watching it just like, I have no idea who I'm rooting for.
So maybe it was the bad one who won.
Maybe. Fuck. Jesus Christ, this is bad.
Yeah, this was really bad.
Like, it wasn't even fun bad. And I was hoping early on it would be fun bad. And like I said, there's even moments where Eddie Murphy made me laugh, but it just. But I did pull up a little bit of trivia on this movie.
Oh, we don't have to do the trivia.
No, let's do a little bit of trivia. Let's dive a bit into this because I think it's fun. In absolute terms, this movie made the largest financial loss of any movie to date, with a budget of $100 million. You want to guess what the box office is, Bobby?
Oh, I don't remember. What is it?
All-time worldwide box office of $7 million.
This movie made $7 million.
Yes, on a budget of $100 million. It's like, And here's one of the things that drives me nuts. Alex Baldwin, say whatever you want about him. He was in this movie briefly, and he disliked it so much he refused to be credited. Eddie Murphy refused to promote this film, and stated that the money was the only reason he took the role. Because reportedly he made $20 million in this, so that's a fifth of the budget right there. Oh, here's something wild. The work print version of this movie ran for 3 hours.
Oh, God.
Oscar winner editor Alan Heim was brought on to try to fix the film. After viewing a portion of the footage, he determined a large portion of the film needed to be reshot. A whole new scenes added, including an opening and closing sequence, an introductory sequence for both Pluto and Dina. Eddie Murphy ultimately financed many of the reshoots, while the film languished in post-production, writing and directing many of the new scenes himself. Ouch. I guess this is kind of a factoid. So both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are referenced in this movie. Both very cringe. Let's see. I know I read somewhere that let's see if I can find it. Obviously, there's Pam Grier plays Eddie Murphy's mom, but she's 12 years older. Which, I mean, I don't know. Like, if it was a better movie, I'd forgive it. It's the same age difference between them as it is between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford in Last Crusade. But yeah. Let's see. I read somewhere that even the director hated this movie. Like, nobody. Okay, so Ron Underwood was dissatisfied with the results of the film as he was shooting it. I knew we didn't have the kind of wit and fun that I would want. I felt it was not really working fully, but it wasn't very obvious how to correct it. He praised the talents of the cast and crew and said that he enjoyed working with Eddie Murphy, and said that Murphy wasn't feeling that funny, I don't think. The result was that Underwood was on the production for 4 years. 4-year production. Holy shit. A review of the version of the film with no special effects that did publish on Ain't It Cool News in January 2001 did not help matters, as Castle Rock became spooked and commissioned 2 weeks of reshoots in Los Angeles that pushed the film's budget to $100 million and missed a release date intended to be April 2001. Yeah. This movie was a fucking disaster. It's very hard to say. Like, normally I'd like to say something good about a movie. And like I said, the best thing I can tell you is there's a couple moments that made me chuckle. And that was literally it. Randy Quaid, honestly, just kind of bugged me in the movie. I know he's supposed to be the charming robot, but, like, it didn't work for me.
No, it didn't work for me.
Some elements didn't work for me. Peter Boyle was great when he was on the scene, but like
Joe Pantoliano was great.
Dies. Yeah,
Joey
Pants is always great. Yeah,
he's always great. He always brings 100%.
I mean, Burt Young was awesome as well, but he is literally just in the intro and then he's gone. Listen, 2001: Space Odyssey is 2.5 hours. This is an hour and a half. Just watch 2001: A Space Odyssey. I would say they feel equally long, but like I almost want to say 2001 just flows just infinitely better. Even for how indulgent it gets with its shots, it flows so much better. At least the shots earn it. Nothing here earns your attention. It is just fucking bad. It is a disaster of a fucking production, and it fucking shows. From a raw effects standpoint, this thing is just kind of fucking gross to look at. I mean, even in this still photo, you can tell the superimposed shit in the back looks awful. Just awful. And now I wonder, like, I assume they're going for a cartoony look, but it doesn't fucking work at all. There's really nothing that works on this. I don't know what else to say. It's a bad movie. Everything you've heard about it is pretty much true. And yeah, I love when the production photos are pretty much just pictures of the cover art. Oh yeah, at the end, Dina gets to play the big singer, and then Bruno takes over the bar. Yay. At least I got invested in the characters. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Not for a moment. No,
Yeah, I'd hope not.
I mean, the big epic odyssey of we got to kill Pluto Nash so we can set up his nightclub with gambling. It's like, is this really it? Is this really the big grand master plan that we're doing right now? Like, anything you want to add, Bobby? This movie sucks.
This was a bad movie. Yeah, I tried to find some joy in it, but it was just it was painful. It was painful.
Like I said early on, I was like, well, maybe this could just be fun. You know, maybe I can have fun with this. I like Eddie Murphy. I like Rosario Dawson. I can have fun with this. And, you know, going into it, that was the only two people I knew were in this movie. No, it sucks. It sucks. I still like the actors involved with it, but like this is not. This is a movie showcasing nobody at their best. Oh, they have lots of pictures. Oh, Jesus Christ, how many pictures we got of Rex and Pluto? Oh yeah, here's him showing off the nightclub. Which, yeah. Wait, what was on that buzzer? I see Klaatu.
Yes, I noticed that when I watched it.
Mm-hmm. You know, I know something familiar, but I didn't register what it was until now. And then, yeah, now I see it's Klaatu. Yeah, I was tempted to rewind it and check it out, but I really didn't want to rewind this movie. I was just like, no.
I understand. I don't hold it against you.
It's not worth it for the quick Day the Earth Stood Still reference.
No.
By the way, another sci-fi movie a lot older than this and infinitely better.
Yeah, that one is awesome.
Holy shit! Yes, that one's amazing.
The original, not the remake. The remake's
yes,
all right. It's serviceable.
Like, it's tough for me to hate anything with Keanu Reeves, but like,
it's serviceable.
The original is so much better.
Yeah, it's serviceable, but so much better.
Yeah, like what bugs me about the remake isn't so much that I consider it really bad, as much as it's really pointless in my opinion. Just watch the original. Fuck, it's better.
They should have just kept Keanu under the whole gag and gimmick.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing that I hated about it. And again, it just I hate to do it because he also rarely turns in a bad performance.
Yes, yeah. I love Keanu. Less fond of Randy Quaid, but
yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. This is definitely not one of our picks for favorite movie. This is our
not
great
at
trash,
all.
Obviously. As someone from an Eddie Murphy fan, I do admit he has stinkers, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, he does have some stinkers.
He has his collection.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of people say Vampire of Brooklyn, but I think that's underappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Harlem Nights is also good.
Yeah, Harlem Nights was fine.
What is it? The one where he's like a senator, or he's in Washington.
Oh, Distinguished Gentleman.
Yeah.
Distinguished Gentleman is kind of wild because I love the first half of that movie, and the second half it's fine, but it's like cliche. But like this shit where he's actually running for office, but he's doing it on pure name recognition and wins just very easily.
Yeah.
I love it.
Johnson. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I love it because the whole movie just sets up him as a con man, and he does this as a con. And then he gets to Washington, and they're all just con men. They're all just like, oh, yeah, dude, that was brilliant. Great move. And it's like, I love that part of that movie. It's just when it gets to the end where it's like he's actually fighting the good fight, that just feels kind of stale and overdone.
Yeah.
But the first half is great. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember what we're covering next week. I know next week we got Andor. Okay.
Yeah, we got Andor, episodes 7 through 12.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of Andor to get caught up on. And then
we're watching Superman 3.
Ooh.
And 28 Days Later.
I haven't seen 28 Days Later in forever, so
it's been a long time for me as well. Yes, but we are watching.
I saw it when it came out.
Yes, I did too. So I'm presuming that we're watching 28 Days Later in preparation for 28 Years Later.
Yes, I have the trilogy on here, which I haven't even seen 28 Weeks Later, so I'll get caught up.
They didn't do months though.
No, they didn't. They did not. They skipped that one.
I mean, I've seen the first one, 28 Days, but we're skipping that one.
Huh?
We're skipping
28 days?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should catch up on that one.
That is a weird trilogy.
It was a really weird trilogy where they did 28 days, then 28 days later, and then 28 weeks later. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. Where'd Sandra Bullock go? I'm confused.
Well, I think we can kind of figure out what happened to her. Poor Sandy.
Very sad.
200 episodes, man. Ooh.
Jesus Christ. Good fun though. Oh man, you actually have the appropriate shirt too. I don't have a Shawshank Redemption shirt.
Yeah, told you I'm a total fanboy for this one.
Dude, after rewatching this, I wanted to see if I could find a good copy on Steelbook, and unfortunately it's all overpriced because physical media is all overpriced anymore.
Well, now it's starting to come back into trend. Now people are buying CDs and DVDs again.
Yes. And it frustrates me because it's all overpriced, and it's like, God damn it! I want it to be affordable.
These people selling don't know the fucking value of what original CD was. I think the most I ever paid for one was a double disc, and it was almost $50.
Yeah.
Now, like when they were slowly losing their popularity, I would pay $20 for a four CD set.
Easily.
The day Lou Reed died. Hey, the day Lou Reed died, I paid $20. No, not even that. I paid $10 for a Velvet Underground collection of every Velvet Underground album, and with bonus disc of studio tracks and mistakes. Every Velvet album with those outtakes, $10. As soon as they cashed me out for, I was like, yeah, obviously you guys don't know the news today. They go, what do you mean? Lou Reed, the driving force in this band, he died today. And I saw the look on the clerk get really angry at me.
Oops.
Oh, what? Yeah, that's what happens when all you listen to is Five Finger Death Punch, my dude.
True. But yes, so we got the stream next week, and I do need to talk to you guys about the podcast in 2 weeks. But I got pull up for comic book to cover on Thursday, so I'll be live on Thursday in theory, unless my daughter texts me. So cross my fingers on that one. Still planned. Should be live on Wednesday with the initiative. You guys know the drill. And next week we got the podcast. We already went over what we're covering. So yeah. Anything you want to go over, Bobby?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us.
All the channels. Thank you.
200 episodes.
Yeah, no matter where you came in,
and
we're
200
happy that
more.
you're here. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
And we hope you stay with us too.
Yes. Party on and be excellent to each other.
Take care.